and Alco, Sean Bowen, Peter Bowen teaming up 20-1. Call the Cops, Andrew Tinkler, Nicky Henderson 3-1. Your favourite is Tom Stewart on David Pipes, Batavia at 13-8. Kelvin Grove, as we said now, ridden by the champ. Seldom In, Dougie Costello, Sandy Thomas 6-1, and Waltz Darling, James Reevely and Keith Reevely looking for a quick double at 8-1. So the favourite is Batavia. It's important for him.
The starter about to let them go, which he does, and Batavia is quickly sent into the lead, although Alco, with proven stamina obviously on his side, having won a Scottish National, is also up there early on. This is the same trip as for our previous race, and remember there's very little jumping in the first part of this contest. Kelvin Grove racing on the outside of Call the Cops, Seldom In and Waltz Darling settling at the back of the field as this long run to the first continues. So Batavia out in front, Alco wide out, and Kelvin Grove poking the nose in the red and white between the pair. Call the Cops still racing in 4th place as they'll now finally approach the first flight of hurdles. Seldom In 4th place. Take the first, Seldom In just rather paddled through it. Waltz Darling is held up early on. So now another long run before they encounter the next flight, which will actually be in the home straight. As on the outside, Alco, Sean Bowen returning to action. Nice to see him back after that injury on New Year's Day. The horse just inclined, you can see he's riding on one rein, both his hands towards the left-hand side of the horse just to stop Alco shifting out. Batavia closer to the rails, between the pair Kelvin Grove. All the Cops waiting in the wings at the moment with Seldom In and Waltz Darling as they turn back towards home for the first time. So Alco leading, very little change in the play. Kelvin Grove now the mount of Tony McCoy in the absence of Cantlow. Batavia, despite being on the winning run, cheek pieces applied. Then, as they reach the second, Call the Cops towards the inside of the track with Seldom In and Waltz Darling. So this is flight number 2, despite the fact they've covered the best part of 3/4 of a mile. Batavia takes it in the lead. Alco's being kept notably wider between that pair. Kelvin Grove didn't take it quite as well as the two in front. That last flight, but jumps that okay. Call the Cops on the inside, just reined back, and still Seldom In and Waltz Darling as they make their journey up the home straight. So Batavia continuing to show. Batavia over, length in advance of Kelvin Grove. Call the Cops up the inside. Alco now back with a share of 3rd, but they're tightly grouped to the front quartet with Seldom In. And at the back of the field, Waltz Darling, as Batavia, at just a steady pace, leads the turn. Batavia by a length. Call the Cops on the inside of Kelvin Grove and Alco as they take the turn with the floodlights of the Keepmo silhouetted against the skyline in the background. Busy day of sport in Doncaster as they make their journey down the side of the racecourse. 7 flights to take, and Batavia continues to tow them along. Kelvin Grove and Alco continue to give pursuit, and Tom Scudamore just let out a little bit of rain there, and Batavia grabbed it enthusiastically. The pace has increased as a result. Call the Cops on the inside, closes down bigly by Call the Cops, really flew that. Still got a long way to go, however. Want to light the blue touch paper too early. Seldom In and Waltz Darling. Batavia over. Call the Cops again is good. Again, Seldom In's been the one who's just scrappy more than anything else with the hurdling, and is at the back of the field with Waltz Darling, who still travels okay. So out in front it is Batavia towards the last of this trio of hurdles down the side of the racecourse. Batavia out in front from Call the Cops, who again was really impressed with his leaping, and Seldom In again gave that a belt. So now this long run towards 4 from the finish. Batavia out in front, almost as you were a circuit to go, with Kelvin Grove and Alco moving up on the outside. Call the Cops trapping the leader, and Seldom In and Waltz Darling. So little has changed through the first circuit. A couple again just having a little nibble at Batavia out in front. Kelvin Grove the first to do so. Call the Cops still waiting in the wings, looking to pick up the pieces if Batavia gets involved in any earlier battles. Alco still there on the outside. Seldom In. Waltz Darling still travels perfectly okay back of the field. Waltz Darling has already had a prolific season. James and Keith Reevely looking for doubles. So racing then towards the 4th last. Batavia, Kelvin Grove and Call the Cops. This is 4 from the finish. And Batavia out in front. Call the Cops again, a mighty leap right past Kelvin Grove. Alco back in 4th place. Waltz Darling, a less extravagant than Call the Cops, but still travels every bit as well, yellow colours at the moment. So Batavia trying to run the finish out of the rivals on the run towards 3 out. Kelvin Grove keeps attacking. Call the Cops keeps enjoying that, probably just sitting, waiting, biding time. Alco, Waltz Darling, similar game plan as they make the turn back towards home. So Batavia out in front. Kelvin Grove now is being pushed along. Call the Cops still waiting. Up in trip this afternoon. And still travelling okay, Waltz Darling, as they fan out towards the third last. So Batavia at the moment of truth, asking to be pressing on. Call the Cops still travels comfortably towards the right-hand side. Waltz Darling in the yellow colours follows Call the Cops, and then Kelvin Grove. This is 3 from the finish. Batavia with Call the Cops coming there strongly. Call the Cops it is, who pops alongside Batavia. Back in third is Kelvin Grove. Now, Call the Cops is absolutely bolting away here. It's only going to be the distance or the 2 flights of hurdles. Was about to enter unknown territory. Call the Cops is over. Kelvin Grove and Waltz Darling. Now, can Call the Cops see it out? In second is Waltz Darling. Call the Cops receives a reminder. 3 to 4 lengths clear, just wandering around under pressure. Batavia is well beaten, but it's Call the Cops down towards the last, wins it well, jumps it well from in second place Waltz Darling, and off up the run in it is Call the Cops who leads. Waltz Darling is back in second place. Well, Batavia needed a penalty to get into the Pertemps. The same applies for Call the Cops, and he's beaten the horse that going into this was anti-post favourite, so he's likely to move up the rankings, and a very fluent victory as well. Call the Cops beats Waltz Darling. Alco was third, in fourth was Kelvin Grove, in fifth place Seldom In, and Batavia is last of all. Exuberant, he saw the trip out well, he's the one that gets the penalty.